What's the best interaction in your guys' opinion that you've had with a footballer?
Probably Richarlison, I'd say. And seeing his family's reaction to the garment, like really that sentimental value tied into the piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that for me was like huge. You know, seeing him being like, and then like he just kind of just lit
Jumps
up.
out.
Like,
Yes, right. Like we want to do the Canadian men's national team. That's what we want to do. We want them coming to the tournament. It's in our town, right? Part of it is we want them to show up representing the country properly, right? Not wearing tracksuits, but looking smart.
we're down 8 at half.
Oh my God.
wow.
Bro.
Don't mean to laugh. Don't mean to laugh. It's
Down
tough.
8 at half. We end up losing 10-0. They give us like a tour of the facility, the boot room, the facilities, showing us how the contracts work with the academy players.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're in their mess hall, we're just eating whatever, and they're pointing to different players in the academy. They're like, see that player there? He scored 5. He's going to the first team next week. This player is...
Do you love the Premier League? Because I know I do. And here at the Footy Culture, we are here to bless you with an exclusive discount from our friends at Fubo TV, where you can stream all the Premier League matches live in 4K. Do you love watching Heung-min Son, Bukayo Saka, Manchester United? All of that is available to stream exclusively here in Canada on Fubo TV. So hit our link in the bio for that exclusive offer. Now let's get into the action. What's up, guys? It's Jay Zeno here, and we're back with a very special episode of the Footy Culture Podcast. We're joined by 2 absolute gentlemen today, founders of Nota Bene Bespoke, custom luxury garments. These guys have outfitted some of your favorite athletes, Premier League ballers, NBA, NFL, NHL. The list goes on and on. But with that said, I'd like to welcome Trevi and Shana. Welcome, boys.
Well, thanks for having us, man.
Thanks for having
Welcome,
us.
boys. Welcome.
It's an absolute pleasure. I was super excited to have you guys come on because, like I've told you guys before, what you guys do in the football space, and not only just football, but all sports and daily like lifestyle in general, it's super cool. It's super different. It's not something you see, especially tied to what we do here, which is football, right? So I really wanted to get into your guys' story, see how it started. But first off, how you guys got into the game, because I know you guys are fans first and foremost, right?
100%.
So how'd you guys get into football? Start with you, Trevi.
Manchester United, man. That's where it started for me. The Premier League inaugural season. You know, Cantona, you got Paul Ince, the collars pop, the flair, the wins in dramatic fashion. Those are the things that kind of drew me to the game. And obviously playing youth soccer in Toronto, right?
And where were you playing youth soccer?
East York Soccer Club.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up in East York, it was like other athletes.
Ooh, what was-
East York was known for baseball, a little bit of hockey, but soccer on the grassroots level was like pretty prominent in the neighborhood. So like 5 years old, all the way up till university, right?
Mhm.
Soccer, everything. You know?
And Man U is like your first entry, your first love into the game.
Definitely that, and then it leading on to Dwight York, who's also from Trinidad and Tobago, which is my background, and then that just cemented my love for the team. And there you go, you know. Obviously, treble, things like that to follow, right?
Yeah,
So,
of course. What about you, Sean? I know you're also a United fan.
The good old days.
The good
Good old days.
I know it's bad, man. We're feeling it. I was born in London, UK. I should have been supporting Arsenal, but Eric Cantona signed to United. It's the first £1 million pounds signing from Leeds. So then right away, pop collar. I was in love, man, the way he played. So yeah, that was kind of why I supported Manchester United, and then came to Canada. And luckily, my next door neighbor, the coach, was my coach. He's like, this guy's from England. He's got to be good.
Must be good. Wait, how old were you when you came?
I was 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So you had a little bit of the accent?
Yeah,
The
I had
London
the
accent there?
man. I had the accent.
What happened to it though?
I lost it quick, man. yeah. And then so I was in Scarborough. So I played for Malvern and
Nice.
played for Malvern, and then eventually played for Woodbridge for a bit, and then played for GS. We had some battles, me and Trev.
heavy
That's how we knew.
battles.
That's how we knew each
What
other.
positions did you guys play?
I played center back and right back.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
left wing and striker.
Oh, so you guys are like
So
literally
we were
coming
just
up
going
against.
box to box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking
Jeez.
turns going
Yeah.
at each other.
That's
And then
sick.
with that, we built a respect for each
Yeah,
other,
exactly.
right? Which has led to obviously 20 plus years of friendship and
Wow.
now business, right?
Wow. So you guys met on the football pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Amazing.
Serious battles, man.
Who got the upper hand more
Yeah.
often?
On 1v1s, who
So
won?
I was more pacey, so he would be like, "Yo, Trev, slow down." Yo. He was more technical than me,
Mm.
so it was kind of like he'd skin me, he'd get past me, and then I'd be running nonstop, and then it was that respect grew over time. It was like,
Nice.
you know, when you see someone across the other side, and you're
Mhm.
like, "Yo, this guy literally made me put a shift in," you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's where it started.
I mean, the thing about soccer, right? Like when you play, is you're building a massive network.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So a lot of our our customers from day
Mhm.
one were from people that we played with,
Mhm.
right? So it's it's been a big impact in our lives, I would say, and the way we conduct our business,
Mhm.
and then that's how we built our relationship. I started the business about a decade ago when I was doing my MBA. So I
Nice.
did my undergrad, did my MBA afterwards. I was doing an entrepreneurship degree, and then I started this business. My customers, like our customers, were literally around us, right? So
Yeah.
everyone was wearing dress shirts, suits. So it was like that was our target market. And then as I was kind of scaling the business, I was like, who can I bring on to help me scale this?
Mhm.
And I had Trev. Like I was seeing Trev all the time. We used to go to a bar and he used to manage it. And I saw Trev and Trev loved what we were doing. And he's like, you know what? If you ever need a hand, let me know. And I told Trev, listen, I know you from the field. Let's try to bring this together. And then Trev joined, and we've been at it since, right?
Let's be teammates this time.
Yeah,
Instead of rivals.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, but what influenced you guys to get started doing
Yeah.
this kind of art, right? Because I'm sure, like, what were you guys doing before that, and what kind of influenced you guys to take that step into Nota
Yeah.
Bene, creating suits, garments?
Yeah. So I mean, for me, it started right from school, right? Like I said, I was born in London, so I used to wear uniform all the time.
Yeah,
right?
you're
So
right.
it was a big part of that culture was looking smart.
Yeah.
So when we came to Canada, that was something that stuck with me. And then when I was doing my MBA, I had this idea of this business back then. I just didn't know how to formalize it and bring it to the market. And my professor, he was kind of my mentor. So he helped me bring it to market and just like figure out the business plan and all
Yeah,
that stuff,
yeah.
right? And then Trev, I guess you can speak on what made you want to join.
So for me, like I had a background in clothing. My grandmother used to make costumes and wedding dresses. So I grew up with like sewing machines everywhere, understanding what tailoring looked like, and obviously creating a piece from scratch. But obviously I had no experience in that. So like when the opportunity came to work with Shana, it was almost like second nature to me. Like I understood it, but from a men's perspective, it was like I started doing it and I was kind of like, I feel like I was born to do this. You know what I mean? It just
Mm-hmm.
kind of aligned right away. So.
And you guys would say that both of you bring something different to the table, right? Which
Yeah.
in turn obviously complements the business even better, right?
Yeah, I think we're that yin and yang, like that
Yeah.
Messi Ronaldo type of thing. We're kind of a little bit of the opposites in that
Wait,
way.
but
So
which one's Messi? Which one's
I'm gonna take CR7 still.
Messi then, eh?
I'll take it. Sure.
Why
You
not?
know?
He doesn't like that.
It's not all those penalties in the last World Cup, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm with you on that one.
Right?
Trust me. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah, no, it's like, I guess personality wise, I'm very like kind of fiery. Let's get this going type of thing. And then Trev is sometimes like, listen, man, just relax. Like we got this, just calm down, right? Type of thing. And so that really helps out, right? When you're by yourself and you just want to go,
Yeah.
that doesn't always work in your favor.
Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes you
can
gas
rub
out.
people the wrong way too, right?
Yeah.
And Trev's really good at staying balanced and keeping calm and bringing calmness to the business. So
And obviously, we also look at things very similar, but also at the same time, like Shanna might see something outside the box and be like, Trev, let's approach it this way, right? And that's good. It's important because obviously, if we're aligned with everything, thinking the exact same thing, we'll miss out on opportunities too, right? It's good to have that perspective, different perspectives to bounce off, right? So
100%. I want to circle back a little bit to something that you mentioned, how football has been like the ultimate networking tool for you, right? Because in reality, that ball has taken you guys around the world, right?
really.
massive.
Which is
Massive.
it's beautiful, right? It's amazing what football could do. But I want to touch back because you guys had your respective youth football careers that took you around the world, no? So I know you have some. I know we've talked in the past. You've had some great stories
Yeah.
coming up, playing the game. So, what was your youth football career like?
You want to start, Shanna?
Yeah. So, like I said, I came at 10 years old, started playing for Malvern. In the beginning, we were okay. We were a decent team. And then we started to kind of get progressively better, right? And then North Scarborough broke up, so we just stole their best players, to be honest. And that's how we became good.
Yeah.
Eventually, we got Jonathan de Guzman. So
Oh, nice.
obviously played in around Europe. So he played with us for about a season just before he went to
Europe.
Yeah, and during that time we went to Italy. So I think I was like 13 years old, and we did a trip to Italy, and it was a really like eye-opening experience, right?
Yeah.
Because Scarborough kid, obviously lived in London, but kind of just sheltered a bit, and
Yeah.
then it just opened our eyes as what the world is, right? And that kind of sparked in just an admiration for different cultures, right? I used to see Italians when I went to go play against Woodbridge and
Yeah.
and things like that. But now it was like, okay, we're in Italy, in the Mecca, like one of the Meccas of football, right? So that was really big for me coming up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And speak on that. What did that Italy experience teach you? Because like you said, it opened your eyes to a whole different culture, a whole different lifestyle. In turn, maybe being the reason you're now producing these Italian garments for all these people, all these athletes, right? So what would be your biggest takeaway from that time?
It was an appreciation for culture, for different value systems. I think is really important. Yeah, and then after that, man, like as I was growing, I always thought back to that trip.
Yeah.
How important was it to travel, to meet different people and meet different cultures? That was really big for me. So travel's really been a big part of my life. After that trip and after Malvern, ended up playing for Woodbridge, right? So back to playing with Italians.
Love the talent.
Couldn't resist.
Yeah.
Can't get away with them.
Then after, so I played there. We won an Ontario Cup there, but this is
nice.
kind of at the tail end. Then went to university at McMaster. So I was in Hamilton. Played there for 4 years. I actually played center mid then. So I had to step up
Are
the
all
game
over
a bit.
all over the place.
Yeah. And then, that was pretty much it, man. And then after that, men's league, throughout the whole time battling this guy. And it just
Can't get away from him.
giving me the runaround. And Trev still plays though, man. This guy plays a decent level. And
Damn.
yeah.
Hanging on by a thread.
You're techie like that, eh?
Not so much. I was a pacey guy. I just
Okay.
I had track speed, so that was kind of like I had some technical ability, but it was mostly pace. So as you get older, you have to rely on other things. So you start playing left back, playing other positions. Well, yeah, definitely, I was very fast growing up. Probably one of the fastest in my age group.
Oh, wow.
And but yeah, you can't be fast, lightning quick forever, right?
Yeah, you got to work on other parts of the game.
100%.
Yeah.
And I learned as I got older, I had to do that, right?
Touch on that though. What was your youth footy career like?
So I was came out of East Stroke Soccer Club. So the club itself had developed a lot of good youth players. A lot of fun growing up. But we were one of those teams almost like Buffalo Bills, like go to every tournament, go to the final, lose. We lost to the World Cup.
Like
we lost
Juve.
to the final.
Come on.
Juve always loses finals.
Come on, man.
So
Keep it off Juve.
We lost in the Little World Cup final.
Oh,
We lost in the East Stroke tournament final. We lost in the
Jeez,
Scarborough
man.
Blizzard final. Those 1 year, we lost like 4 finals in 1 year.
Wow.
And it's like when you're a kid too, you're just
Yeah.
like, you can't handle that type of defeat, right?
But
Yeah.
man,
So
looking
that
back
took
at that, you guys went to the finals, man. Every time. That's
Doesn't matter. You didn't
crazy.
win. It's
Right?
tough.
So,
It
like,
messes you up.
You said Little World Cup.
yeah.
What is that?
So it was at Esther Shiner.
Okay.
So basically, it was like they do a draw.
Yeah.
Each club team would pick a team. Like you'd end up getting Italy or Ireland or whatever, and then they'd make a World Cup draw bracket, and you'd play like a League Cup, basically till the end, right? Till
Yeah.
you got knocked out of the group stage or whatever.
Okay.
So that year we faced North Scarborough in the final, and we actually faced them in 3 of the 4 finals we went to, and they beat us every single time.
Oh my
Jeez,
So yeah, it was rough.
gosh.
But like, learning, and that's another thing that's good about the business is when you're younger, you learn how to handle losses, things like that. And you're only as good as your last game. So you
Mhm.
lose a game and then you move on to the next, right? And that's important in this type of business, right? So
Fantastic.
be
You're learning that
consistent.
at that age too,
100%,
which like
right?
that could take a toll on a lot of people. So
Right.
Kudos.
So there was that. So I was there pretty much till about 12.
Mm.
And then, I wanted to get better. I wanted to get pushed. And then I went to Scarborough Olympic Flame. And then that for me was pivotal, like in my development. And I feel for me, getting me to end up playing collegiately. If I didn't make that jump, it wouldn't happen. So the story we kind of talked about off camera was my club team. We went to Brazil.
Wow.
So what we did is went to training camp for 3 weeks, and we played against the top youth teams in Brazil. And at the time, Sao Paulo FC was top 5 youth team in the world.
And this is around when, like, what
This
year?
Is, 2000. So
Okay.
U17.
Yeah.
So we went. Like, some of the top players from our team went down, and at the training facility that we went to, they had some players living on this training compound. So these kids were going to like Arsenal, Bayern, different clubs in Europe, and like making it to like the last 5 players, the last 2 players, and then getting cut. So, you know, in Brazil, football is life. So these kids are trying to play at the next level. And going through that experience, you get to learn like what it really means to train at a professional level. Like you're doing like 2 4-hour sessions a day. You're doing fitness, you're doing, you know, plyometrics. Then you're doing small sided game stuff leading up to a full phase game, right? So like we never did that here growing up. It's like the coach is like someone's dad or things like that.
Yeah, I'm even
coaching.
surprised. Like in Brazil, like at that time, it's so like technologically advanced. Like I'm shocked.
So it's crazy because the players that were on this training compound, they're asking us like, in Canada, how much do you guys train? And we're like, 4 or 5 days a week. We're like, 4 or 5 days a week. Like we train twice a day. That lets you know the separation, right? That's why they're as good as they are.
Yeah.
Right? So we play this club called Portuguesa, which is a pro team in Sao Paulo. We play another team, Nacional, and then we're going to play Sao Paulo last. So the coach that we had, he goes to us, you guys are going to play Sao Paulo last, and they're top 5 in the world, and you have no chance of winning this game. And I'd never had a coach.
Wait, he said that?
He said, we have no chance of winning this game.
So just go have fun.
It'll be national. It'll be on the news. If you guys win, we have no chance.
All right. Thanks, coach.
So as a kid, I've never heard a coach say that. So I'm thinking like, this, like, how bad could it be, you know?
Yeah.
So we play the first 2 games. We win against Portuguesa. We tie Nacional. And now we're getting ready for the Sao Paulo game. So we get to their training facility. They have a training pitch. So we're in one half of the pitch. The other half is like the 5-man wooden wall. And then there's like some people in the press conference area, coaches and what have you.
Yeah.
So we're looking at this wall, and I'm looking at the wall, and like it's like 6 feet. And then these guys come out of the tunnel. They come out of the tunnel and like branch out. Their coaches have to tell them nothing. They know what they're doing. Corner, scissor kick, top corner. Free kick, top corner. Free kick the other side, top corner. Diving header. And we just knew like it's gonna be a long day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So fast forward now, we're down 8 at half.
Oh my God.
Bro.
Don't mean to laugh. Don't mean to laugh.
We're
It's
down
tough.
8 at half. We end up losing 10-0. So
That's not that bad.
They give us like a tour of the facility, the boot room, the facilities, showing us how the contracts work with the academy players. So now we're in their mess hall, we're just eating whatever, and they're pointing to different players in the academy. And they're like, see that player there? He scored 5. He's going to the first team next week. And they gave us tickets to go to Sao Paulo Palmeiras, which is a huge derby.
Yeah.
there,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Sick.
So we go to that game. My first time going to a professional game. And then that player comes on, gets an assist, and they win. This player is Kaka.
Oh, okay. No wonder you guys lost 10-0. That's fair. That's fair.
Wait. You played against Kaka.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Got killed by Kaka.
That's something I would
absolutely destroyed.
I would gladly tell everybody that if
Yeah,
I,
so
like, I got killed by Kaka.
that's like my one claim to fame story.
Yeah.
We got destroyed by him. And then obviously 2002, he's a reserve on the World Cup winning squad. And 2003, he signs with AC. And the rest is history after that, right?
Wow.
So that was my first like experience with seeing like people playing in a pro level, pro system, and knowing right away I am not at that level. You know what I mean? So that was like a wake up call for sure.
Yeah, bro. Like I'm just trying to take it in. Like being a kid from Scarborough, like seeing the world open up in front of your eyes like that, and then seeing like in retrospect you're playing against this like legendary baller, you're playing against a legendary side in a legendary country. Like, what are your emotions at this time, and how did that time maybe shape you, like in your career now, in your life now?
Well, like even that, like if you look at how Brazilians are eat, sleep football, right? Like it shows even us in business, like being consistent, studying your craft, like being on point, being on top of your game, like that's imperative to getting the results that you want, right? So that's something I applied where the hard work, it pays off over time, right? So, and that's what it is. That's basically what it is. And playing sports does that for you. It teaches you how showing up and being consistent bears fruit, right?
Beautiful.
Right. Hey Jay, one important thing is, like, if you're anywhere in the world, if you have an inkling that person supports a team or likes football, right? You can just ask them, what club do you support? And that just opens up the conversation.
Yeah.
Just opens up the door.
Yeah.
How many times have I asked that? I'm talking to a random person. I just hear a little accent or just something triggers me. And I'm like, hey, what team do you support? And next thing I know, I'm talking to this guy 15,
Yeah.
half an hour, right?
Exactly.
15 minutes, half an hour. So it just, the doors it opens that way, just organically is insane, right? And then back to Trev's point is the work ethic, right? It's like, you've seen it firsthand. I've seen it with Jono. Like, I saw the work his dad was putting in his family. Like, you see that firsthand, and then you apply that in your life, right?
Yeah.
You learn that young without even knowing.
Yeah, and that's the amazing part of playing sports, especially for us, soccer, right? We played as well, and that's the second the side thing you get from the sport. Obviously, you play the sport because you love the sport, but you learn so much teamwork, how to get away with mentality and all that stuff. It's like you learn so much from the sport that you don't even realize that you use for the rest of your life.
Yeah, man. You learn how to take L's, like Trev said.
Yeah.
Final
Great L's.
I'll take that L any day.
It's an honorable L.
That's like the best L you could get.
But it's important, right? You know how to fall down and get right back up, right? And you know how to take wins but be humble, because there's always somebody a little bit ahead. There's always somebody. So in our business, there's always someone ahead of us. So how do we aspire to be them or beat them or whatever it is, right? That competitive spirit.
Exactly.
So these are things that you don't know you're learning as a kid when you're playing the sport, but you're learning them. Yeah. It's important.
100%. So many beautiful lessons to take from the game. But looking forward, you guys ultimately were able to turn this passion into your craft. I want to hear about what those early Nota Bene days were like. And did you guys foresee or think that one day maybe suiting up these kind of athletes at this level was achievable? Like, what was the vision like?
Yeah, honestly, I think anything you do, you don't think too far into the future. That was one of the things I learned. And I had a mentor, right? He was just like, put everything into it and just see what happens, right? Obviously, you have your goals, your 5-year goal or whatever the case is. But starting off, it took so many L's, man.
Of course.
Made poor business decisions. But the key was learning from it, getting back up, right? Making mistakes fast and quick, but moving forward. So, for example, there were suits where we made for our friends, and these are friends that we played against in soccer and stuff like that, but they weren't good, bad, right? But they understand. They're your friends. So you make these mistakes with friends and family, you learn from it, and then you grow your business, right? Those are the first days, right? I can imagine when you guys started the pod, you look back at it and you're like, well,
I don't want to look back at them.
No, I like looking back.
I don't. We look horrible.
But you learn from it, right?
But you learn from
Learn.
it.
Exactly. And look at you guys got a beautiful space, and it wasn't like this in day one, and it grows, right?
100%.
So I think it's one of the key things is for us is just don't limit yourself. You don't know what's going to happen. Just keep going, man, and take those opportunities and just be real through the whole process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's great what you just said there. Like you got to learn from your mistakes, because there's so many people that start businesses or start such as a podcast or something, and they fail at it to begin with, and they're just like, I can't do this anymore, and they'll just quit. Yeah. But you have to realize that if you don't quit and you keep trying, it'll get better. Things will change, of course. So I love that point that you brought up there.
Yeah, it's true, because a lot of people nowadays, they think about it as they work with what's the word, like
I don't know.
They have the fire in them to do with it. But then after, when that fire starts to diminish, that's when you start to realize, those are the people that are going to last for long, because they're dedicated. It's not the fire anymore that's building up in them. It's the dedication that's going to get them through the bad times.
The early days are easy, right? That's when everybody's saying, oh, great, you guys are out there. That's cool. This project's amazing. But that fades quickly.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And then, so once that hype is gone and you start taking L's, it's easy to just be like, you know what? I'm done.
Exactly.
Move on, right? Yeah. The hardest part is getting up and just keep going, right? And fighting through it, right?
What are your thoughts?
It for me, soccer prepared that loss, that 10-0 I took. Like for me, it's like, why not? Why not do it? Why not go for it? Right? Like you hear all these different stories of people that think of it, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, the people who lived on their street growing up, never envisioned what those guys' lives would have been like, right? But they believed in themselves, having that belief in yourself that you can do it, and setting, like Shana was saying, like those short-term goals, and then they accumulate into other things, right? Obviously, over time, we put together a body of work that's led to other opportunities that we never envisioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like you work hard, luck finds you too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, and that's been a huge part for us too.
Yeah. A way I like to put it, ultimately it could get to a point where you're not even chasing those dreams start chasing you,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
Yeah.
And you could say that's kind of what happened in your sense, right? I want to hear about, so obviously you're creating for everyday kind of clientele, your friends, like you said. How do you ultimately take that leap into these professional athletes, these footballers, and what made you think or know that you were ready to take such a leap?
Yeah. So I think around 2016, 2017, we had done enough clients to realize that we could do anyone, right? So if you think about professional athletes, actually they're probably the easiest because they don't have too much body fat. Their body types are,
Yeah.
they're ideal in
lean,
what
very
we
lean.
do, right? So around that time it was like, okay, I feel comfortable pretty much doing any body type, right? And the first person was Danny Green during the NBA finals. That was just fell in our lap, man.
Wow.
That was by chance. And the reason why was because during that time I used to post a lot on Instagram of me wearing the suits.
Mhm.
So trying to model my own stuff, right? And Trev had just joined as well. So he was starting to see kind of the behind the scenes work. And then Danny's business manager, shout out Amjad, he reached out to me he followed me on Instagram. And I'm looking at his Instagram, and this guy's like friends, like he has pictures with everybody, like LeBron James, all these
players.
guys. Yeah. And I'm just like, who's this guy? Right. During that time, it was a lot of following people and unfollowing. So it was I thought maybe it was a bot. Right? So a few weeks go by and he's still following me. So then I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to message him. So I messaged him on Instagram. We ended up going out. He came out with another guy, Harrison. We went out for drinks, and then we had a good time. We went out for dinner. It was a good time. And we just talked about our businesses. And again, it was just they were talking basketball. I related to them talking about soccer as well. And the next day they had a podcast. So they had Inside the Green Room. I got invited to that, right?
Oh, wow.
So they had Marc Gasol, Danny Green, and then a few videographers, and just me sitting in the corner randomly. Like, these guys are going, and I'm just the random dude in the corner. So then I got to meet Danny then, and then we basically built his looks for the NBA Finals. Yeah, so that
Amazing.
during the NBA Finals we got to build his looks. Yeah.
What was that feeling like? That first, did that feel like vindication almost? That like all those years of like the grinding, like a player of this stature, an athlete of this stature appreciates what I do.
Yeah, it was actually when we went to do the fitting with Danny, when I went into his house, the suit that I was wearing, he's like, we don't even need to look at fabrics. This is what I want. What you're wearing is what I want. Right.
Okay.
So that feeling,
Wow,
like him
that's
being
cool.
like, like you're the guy.
Yeah.
That was when I was like, okay, yeah, we're onto something. Right. And then once you go through that, obviously I was a little bit timid. It was my first
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
athlete. Right. So then, and it was the height of the Raptors.
Yeah.
Right. So, so going through that and coming out with a positive experience, him rocking our stuff and you seeing it on TV, like that's a big win for us, right? At that point, I was like, okay, let's take this. Like we can do any player, and he's like 6'7", tall guy, I'm not that tall, but yeah. So it worked out for us. It was good. And going back to, tying in soccer and like cultures, right? When I met Marc Gasol at the podcast, my first question to him is, who's your club? Because I knew he was from Spain and he watches football, right? And he was talking about Barcelona.
Barcelona, yeah.
Yeah. So, broke the ice with that question. It goes back to just that, how big football is in our culture, right?
It's the best icebreaker, bro, for real. For real. What are your like friends' reactions at this point? The people around you, your family, your friends, they're seeing you're suiting up these top athletes. Like it's really starting to get rolling. Like, what's that peer kind of like influence on you? What are they talking about it?
Yeah. So, when you start the business, there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of, you guys are doing something different. This is cool.
A lot of curiosity too, intrigue.
When you start the business.
Yeah.
That disappears, right? Over time.
Yeah.
It came back when we did Danny. So it was that same kind of hype. Oh, this guy's, Shana's actually doing something, right? Trev, like, how does it feel when we do like athletes and stuff? Like, what do people say to you?
It's obviously people who grew up with me, they know my backstory with playing and stuff in the game. So like after playing, I was coaching. So they were like, man, the way that you've been able to like continue your career in sports and still be involved in some capacity, that's the thing that people resonate the most with. So like they're always like, this is you, like this is what you were made to do. So they love the fact that I'm still involved in sports in some form or fashion, right? So that this that, and then obviously people are fans of sports. They're like, yo, how'd you guys design that? What'd you guys do?
Yeah.
Like, where'd the inspiration come for that? You know, so yeah, stuff like that. You know,
It's cool how you say like that curiosity dwindles down. People don't see the grind in between those years, and then when it finally like gets into the big picture, they're like, wow, like awesome, like that's so cool, which is great. You want that support, but like they'll never know what it was really like in the trenches, right?
Yeah,
Interesting.
Jay, I mean, just going back on that, like that's a big message because people don't know the grind.
Yeah.
When we're traveling around the world and we're taking 6-7 suits, like imagine taking that on a plane. It's how, there's only so many times where
Just
I can
hold
say
it
I'm getting married. This is my wedding suit. Like at some point they're just not going to believe me, right? So we'll take like 6-7 suits. The grind, you don't see it. You see the end result, right? And everyone, you know, our friends, family, they're all they love it, but they don't necessarily get to see the hard work behind it, right? And I'm definitely the same thing with you guys, right? Like you guys do a lot of work behind the scenes that people don't see, right? So I think that part is a little bit challenging because we're putting in the effort, and sometimes it doesn't even work out. Sometimes it doesn't always hit the head, right? But when it does, it feels good because you know you put that work in.
But you also love that part where you're putting the work in, because that shows you like, man, I did all this work, and not like it might not, succeed, but at the end of the day, like you know that you can put that work in.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
know what we're doing now is we're starting to capture the behind the scenes footage.
Yeah.
Just for ourselves.
You
as well.
have
Exactly.
to. You have to. You have to document the journey.
Exactly. So I wish we could walk back in time and do that where we were in like 6-7 years ago, but now we're doing it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of work in the background, traveling around, meeting these people, and they might give you an address and then the address changes last minute because they don't want to give you the real address or whatever the case is.
The timelines are so sensitive, right? Like me and Shan talk about, think of it like these athletes, right? Like there's so many things that go into their day-to-day life, like training, their schedule, nutrition, if they lose, the mood they're in, like they don't live a normal life, right? So like we're adapting to that in real time, you know what I mean? So those things that help us sharpen ourselves and bring back into the business, right?
Yeah, which is why we love having conversations like this, because it gives us an opportunity to tell people the grind, tell people the process, the story, because it's a podcast, it's a pure conversation, like in its realest form, right? So people got to hear about it. This is the time right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think you guys also recording is a great idea, because if you guys go and post it on whatever platform you guys are going to post it on, people love watching the process of things happen. Like I'll give TikTok for an example. If you just go look at their short reels at like even a minute long, those things pop off like crazy. Like you could just get eyes on yourself just like that from those videos.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
Even to touch on that, like now from people all over the world seeing our pieces, like people reach out from literally every end of the planet to be like, whoa, that's so dope. Like I support this team. Can you guys make something for us? Like, it's cool. It's really,
Exactly. And yeah, like
all that stems from football.
Like you're saying, especially like from the way I look at it, if you're doing a player like players you've done, footballers you've done, right? Being a fan of that team, of that player, it's like it's cool to see the back of the end. Like I usually don't see him in this environment. This player, I just see him scoring goals, or I see him playing on field, but I don't see him in this environment where you see him like laughing, so relaxed, and that also creates a sense of like, as a fan, you see him like, oh, now I really like this player. So it also helps the player to see that back end type of thing, right? So,
yeah, I mean. I guess one example would be Richarlison when we were at his house, right? We got to see the dynamic there, and it's not like an everyday person's life. It's very different from us, right? He's living with his family, right?
Yeah.
So it was good to meet his whole family, and then when we put the garment on, he walked out, and they were all clapping and like celebrating him, right? This was just before the World Cup.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And then when he went to the World Cup, he actually wore our suit onto the plane. And then there's footage of all the players like touching his suit and like giving him compliments.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
His sister ended up sending a bunch of that content to me.
That's so cool.
But I wouldn't have come across it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really cool because you get to, now you're not just that random person, and you're not just a tailor, right?
Yeah.
You actually build a relationship with people. Not just them, their families, their friends, and yeah, we've been on some rides, man. We've been on some rides with players and some stuff we won't talk about, but we've been able to be a part of their lives in a way. Yeah.
Did Neymar touch the suit?
I I don't know if did Neymar touch him?
Allison and it's another player.
There's a few. There's a few of them complimenting, but I don't know if Neymar. I didn't see Neymar. We'll say he did though.
Neymar was asleep at the back.
But like even that, like you do one player, next thing you know, his teammates are like, "Where'd you get this suit from?" Give me the contacts. I actually needed a suit. I just don't have time because players, like you said, they don't have time for this type of stuff. So
It's not top of mind for them.
no, and for you guys to be able to like travel or go to them, that's a huge benefit for them, right?
Yeah,
Like you said, they only have a fraction of maybe half an hour of a day. They have so many things to do. They have people, they have more interviews, they have this, they have this. So it's like for you guys to be able to fit in that schedule and do what you guys do, it's like obviously if I see my teammate doing that, I want that too.
exactly. We've been able to expand our client list with the players through that, through the word of mouth. You know, if Richarlison is telling another player on his team, they're going to take it seriously.
Exactly.
Right? So it's worked out for us.
Who was the first footy player you guys did for?
Rico Henry on
Rico
Brentford.
Henry.
Yeah.
How'd that feel like getting your first pro footy player?
Yeah, no, he's a good dude, man. So I met him in Los Angeles, in LA.
Okay.
So we just happened to be at the same hotel, and we're at so this was just all coincidence, and we're at the rooftop of the pool, and Rico's literally on the other side. He was by the pool next to one of my friends. My friend wasn't talking to him. He doesn't even watch football.
Okay. Do you know who he is?
My friend just happened to be hanging out in the same area. So I walk up to my buddy and I look at Rico and I'm like, man, I think he plays in the EPL, but like it's weird to ask, right? So then I go to Rico and I was just like, you know what? Screw it, I'm gonna ask him. So I go to Rico, I'm like, man, I think I've seen you play soccer, right? And he's like, really? Like how nobody was coming up to him there in that hotel, right? And then he was like, really? And I'm like, yeah, man, I support United and I think I've seen you play against them. And he's like, that's crazy. And then we started talking. His other friend Nico was there as well, so we kind of just built a relationship right then and there. We were there for a few more days, so we ended up like hanging out, going out together.
That's so cool.
And we built a relationship that way. So he was our first Prem player. And then, you know, going back to like building a relationship, we went to Rico's like house. We met his parents and they took us to Birmingham and we went out with them, and for Halloween we went out for an event there as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we built like personal bonds with these guys, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that just brings you guys like a level above a lot of people, like a lot of these brands that do the same thing as you guys. Not the same thing, but similar.
Yeah.
You guys like literally get that connection with every single person that you make something for.
We try, and you know what it is, like we do sometimes we make that personal connection. It's just organic.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's whether you like the person or not type of thing, right? We try to we just be ourselves. We try to be good guys. The product speaks for itself and we go above and beyond on the service. But then outside of that, you know, if you build a bond, you build a bond, right? So we were lucky. We built that bond, and then Rico was able to put us on for some other players. We got to meet we did Ivan Toney.
Yep.
We did
amazing.
Wissa. We did Buomo. Yeah, a lot of the guys from Brentford, we did. Yeah.
Is there a pressure that comes from suiting up these players? Because like we spoke about, you're on a time constraint. Anything could happen. Obviously, like they're high level athletes. You want to do the best job possible. What are you guys feeling inside, like throughout this process? Like trying to make that top level product. Like what's the feeling like? Is there a pressure?
Not when it comes to the product or what we do. Because what we do, we know what we're doing, right? So when it comes to that, definitely not.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of pressure in that first meeting because we don't know how that person is or what their setup is, right? So that's always a little bit challenging. But once you build that relationship, the product, the service, what we do, like we'll smash it every time.
Exactly.
That's not even a question, right? But to go back to one of the things you were saying is like the grind behind the scenes, right? So we got a story with Edu Gaspar. So we did a beautiful suit for him. And the inside lining was a custom inside lining that spoke to him, his kind of career. Unfortunately, the lining got messed up. So the color had got messed up. And so we had this suit and we were leaving a few days, leaving like the next day to London.
Jeez.
So we took the suit and I was like, I can't show this to him. This is not a representation of our brand, but we have the meeting set up at his house, and it's, you know, we have the meeting locked in. How we can't say we're not going to
Cancel
go
it, yeah.
anymore, right?
Yeah.
So literally, I was running around. Well, we were running around London, just trying to get this lining taken out and replacing it with another lining, right? And we didn't know. I think we landed on a Thursday, and the meeting was on a Friday. So Thursday morning we
Holy
got in, and we
smokes.
had to get
Wow.
it done ASAP. So that's just, you know, the grind behind the scenes that no one really gets to see, right? So we were sprinting around central London, going from shop to shop to shop, and they're looking at us like, you're crazy.
Trying to
Like,
find a solution.
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
You're crazy. You think we're gonna do this right now? Like,
yeah, we're going to prioritize you guys over
Right away,
other
yeah.
customers, right? And, you know, we're like, we'll pay, man. Just let us know what the bill is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We ended up getting it done. So we went to Edu. We did the delivery. Everything was amazing. He loved it. He was none the wiser, right? Like, he didn't know that we did all that. But that's like the grind behind the scenes, right? Yeah.
That would have been cool to have footage of.
Yeah. No, I was stressing, man. You didn't want to.
I would have loved to see that, you guys. But then at the end of the day, it worked, right?
Yeah,
It worked out
yeah.
well, so that's crazy.
Yeah.
Just the sweat beating down by any means. I love by any means possible. You're getting the job done.
Yeah.
I want to even like to give viewers, listeners, like to let them fully understand, like how long is the process from consultation to presentation? How long is it?
Yeah. So we can do it in a month, really. We like to say 2 months, just because we want to build that time, just in case anything we need to do anything. But yeah, we can do it within 4 weeks. Yeah. So first meeting is we go over the fabrics, we go over your design. We try to understand what you do and your lifestyle and what you need it for. So that's the first meeting. Design, measurements, fabric. Next meeting is we get our stuff made in Italy, comes in, then we meet again to try it on, make sure everything fits perfectly. If there's any adjustments, we take care of it. And then we'll meet again as many times as we need to, just to make sure everything's spot on.
So you're having these 3 meetings with each and every player as well.
Yeah. So with the players, we smash it every single time, first time. So we don't even need to meet again.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I mean,
Working under pressure, man. What's the best interaction in your guys' opinion that you've had with a footballer?
Probably Richarlison, I'd say. What do you say?
Yeah, that was a cool. No, Emerson was cool too.
Yeah, Emerson's very animated. I think
Brazilians, man. Brazilians are
they're
animated
very-
in general.
I think with Richarlison, that was interesting is obviously when we went to deliver the garment, he was coming off an injury. So like as what I was talking about before, as far as mood, like when a player's injured, like who wants to meet people when they're hurt, right? He's thinking about his recovery, trying to get back into shape, back into form.
Yeah.
So going into that, we didn't know what to expect, but upon reveal of the garment, like he just lit up like a Christmas tree, you know what I mean? And like dancing, going back to what Shana was saying, like his family's reaction, family's everything for Brazilians, right? And seeing his family's reaction to the garment, like really that sentimental value tied into the piece, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, that for me was like huge, you know, seeing him being like, and then like he just kind of just lit up,
Jumps
like,
out.
like jumped out of his skin basically,
Yeah.
right? And it's good, obviously. Like you were saying, all the things that go behind the scenes into preparing these garments,
It's
that's
vindicated in
everything
that
for us,
moment.
100%, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm
Sure.
curious, is there a language barrier like with the Brazilian players? Like how are you guys? Do you have a translator?
No, with the players, they typically have a few people around them that
Okay.
speak English. But
Yeah.
you know what? Like Richarlison speaks, like he's not fluent, obviously,
Mhm.
You get by.
but he speaks, right? And
Mhm.
Emerson, he speaks. Like, these guys all speak. They all know, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of it is body language too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you just see the product. You're happy or you're not happy.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
That's
Good
all
way.
you need. I'm curious though, and this could be a question for both of you individually. Your dream footballer that you'd want to suit up. It might be the same answer now that I think about it. But who is it?
CR7, bro.
Yeah, really.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for me, it's Cristiano or Bex. Yeah,
Ooh.
For me,
Bex
it'd
is Mr.
be-
GQ, man.
Or
Yeah.
Ronaldo phenomenal. So either Ronaldo.
oh,
Either Ronaldo, I'll
Ooh.
take it. Yeah, for me. I CR like Brazil Ronaldo, I might fanboy a little bit if it was him.
Really?
That was my childhood, like that was my hero growing up,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So that would be a little bit, I don't get starstruck, but that for me would be like, whoa, like the magnitude of that would be my dream fitting for sure.
100%. And Bexy Ronaldo.
Bex and Ronaldo, man. I would be fanboying like crazy.
Yeah, that's
you guys are gonna get
number
it. We'll put it
sevens,
to the
man.
universe. You guys are gonna get those.
Yeah.
Believe in it.
That's amazing.
Serious, that would be insane. I think personally, I think that would be the craziest one. I'd be excited for you guys to get that.
For sure. And like even when you saw like the Netflix doc they came out with Bex, like even that, like look at football now, like fashion is so intertwined with football now.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he was the first person, right? Like he basically was like the godfather of fashion in football, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be like full circle for sure. Like Shanna doing him, us doing him, like that
Mhm.
would be amazing. Just to see where it's come. Because remember before, like football players wearing their tracksuit, you didn't know about what they did behind the scenes. Like,
Mhm.
and he was like out there, he was rebellious, right? And like
Yeah.
now that's the standard now. Like all these players now, you've seen what they're coming to walk into training with. Fashion is so important, right?
Like the
Lifestyle,
tunnel's a runway now.
100%,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's across all sports now. You're seeing it in hockey,
Yeah.
you're seeing it in basketball, right?
Mhm.
So just that now you get to see a little bit of the players' personalities in their sense of style, right?
Yeah. Do you guys feel like you have a duty almost to bridge that gap between football and fashion?
100%,
for
man.
sure.
Yeah.
100%. We love football. We love what we do. We love fashion. So that's what we want to bring it together, right?
Uh-huh.
And you know, a lot of the guys they wear a lot of street clothing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
They're not really versed in sartorial or menswear,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's where we try to come in and help them with that, right? And they have a special event. We want to make them look the best out of all the guys going. So
Yeah.
Ballon d'Or, like Ivan Toney was wearing our piece. If you see the video, he literally is like, "Oh, I should wear this to Ballon d'Or," right?
Yeah.
So he's joking around. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like these are things that we want them to feel special in. It's not something that you just see somebody else wearing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we always do it unique for each person. So if again, looking at the videos, you'll see our lining is very specific to that person. The lifestyle, try to incorporate their lifestyle as well. So
Yeah.
it's all one-of-one pieces, right?
Is that what you think makes these like footballers, athletes in general, appreciate what you guys do so much? Because you're putting them in an environment they're not usually in, but they're being taken care of. They're being dressed in luxury, custom luxury, right? Is that what you think really like makes them appreciate what you guys do and why you guys have been able to build such a great relationship with these guys?
Yeah, well, to go back to what Shanna said, like these pieces are one of one. The inner linings tell a story about that player. Remember, these players are one in how many millions of like people who have aspirations to play professionally. Like
Yeah.
they're highlighting like key moments in victories, goals, things like that, and like they're gonna in their same as like how they have their trophy room. Like they're gonna keep these pieces. These are collectors' pieces
Mhm.
for them, right? So like going back to like for instance like Rico's piece that we did, like the inner lining has like his childhood clubs, things like that, right? Like he'll have that forever. Like he'll never
Mhm.
forget that. His family,
Yeah.
like they have ties to that,
I think
right?
just to add to that also is one is the piece, right? Like one is the actual garment. It's also the process, right? It's a very personal process. They feel like if they're spending a few £1,000 or dollars on our stuff, it's not just the product, they're getting the same in the service too, right? So it's a very high level service that we provide, and they built that bond with us so it feels comfortable throughout. It doesn't feel like uncomfortable at all.
Mhm.
Because you're right, this can be an uncomfortable process, right?
Mhm.
You're wearing something that normally you wouldn't wear. Like how many guys wear a tuxedo? Like you don't wear
No.
that every day.
I don't see it
right?
much. Yeah.
Yeah, so then if a guy's putting on a tuxedo, he doesn't even know if the bow tie is on properly. He doesn't know if he what he should be wearing, right?
Yeah,
What's the
yeah.
difference between a tux or a suit? That's a question we get a lot, right? So a lot of that is making them feel comfortable. So when they do go to that big event, they're feeling on top of the world. It's confidence, right? These guys
Mhm.
go on the football pitch, they think they're the best on the pitch.
Mhm.
So when they go into that event, they'll also feel the best too,
Yeah.
right?
You're educating them in something that they deem as super valuable,
Yeah,
given their high status lifestyle career. So I think it's another huge element of it.
100%, man.
Yeah. I want to hear, obviously looking ahead, you guys have been killing it. I see it every day, but what are you guys looking forward to, looking ahead to, maybe goals, maybe ahead of 2026 as we see the World Cup here in our country, across North America? What are some goals, personal goals, even maybe for Nota Bene? How do you want to see the business go? Who do you want to maybe suit up in the future? What's the pipeline looking like?
Yeah, I mean, for us, the goal is we talk about the business itself is growing the business, right? So growing more style, bringing more style advisors to our team.
Mhm.
That part of it, that's the easy part. I think when we talk about 2026, obvious, right? Like we want to do the Canadian men's national team. That's what we want to do. We want them coming to the tournament. It's in our town, right? Part of it is we want them to show up representing the country properly, right? Not wearing tracksuits, but looking smart, like looking better than the England team does, right? Because those guys, they always come with
Oh
suits.
my gosh, they always come with suits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we want them to look smart, be ready, be professional, come represent us, and we want to be the guys that do it for them. Yeah.
So I have a question quickly. For so let's say you guys did do the Canada national team. Would it be like how do I explain this? Would everyone have like their own specific piece on the inside, or is it like just everyone has a similar, but they all kind of like team like, I don't know how to explain it too well, but can I get what I'm saying?
That's something that like, we would decide with,
Yeah, of
with the
course.
board,
With them,
right?
yeah, okay.
Yeah. But whatever they're comfortable with, we do it.
There
We
would,
do.
there would definitely be some customization,
Yeah, for sure.
monograms, so forth. That would be personalized to that player, obviously. But
Okay.
yeah, definitely that's something we would discuss with them, right?
Yeah. I mean, we did do the board already.
Nice.
For Canada Soccer. They love it. If you go on their website, they're wearing our stuff. So
Amazing.
yeah, I mean, if we could take it to the next level, that'd be great. Yeah.
And then, like you said, it's just getting into that door, just opening the door, and then more opportunities are going to come. Right?
Yeah.
Just staying focused, grinding, and you'll see eyes are going to be on you.
Yeah,
Right?
and the great
That's it
thing
right
too is with Instagram, like in seconds it can travel to the other side of the globe, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
just that exposure, being consistent, keep pumping our stuff out, and then you said this is playing football. You never know who's watching. Look at it like some scout who's at the park and wherever a lot of these professional athletes grew up. Somebody saw Benzema or Thierry Henry or whoever
Yeah.
playing, right? Like these are things like you just keep doing the work. You don't know who's watching, and like I said, luck can find you, things can find you, opportunities find you outside of the ones that we present for ourselves, right? So
I think people respect the grind too, which is why I think it's important that you have to document it, because people, they want to be along for the story, right?
Yeah,
They want to
sure.
see the start, they want to see the finish, they want to see the growth, the journey. So because people appreciate that, right? So I think that that's super key for you guys, and I want to see more being documented for sure.
no, for sure.
Yeah, we're definitely capturing the footage now.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be putting out some stuff probably
Nice.
on TikTok, not our Instagram page.
Mhm.
Keep them kind of separate.
Yeah.
But that's where the grind's gonna be posted for sure. Yeah.
100%. Guys, look, I think this has been a fantastic chat. Just hearing about your guys' journey, the motivation behind your guys' journey, how that all started just with a passion for football and seeing where it's taken off. I think it's been fantastic. But I have a final question I have to ask. Who is your guys' GOAT, your football GOAT?
I think we know. I think we
Oh
know.
my gosh. Okay, so it's different for every person. For me, my metric, why I have CR7 as my GOAT, is what he's done in multiple leagues as far as dominance. Okay, I'm gonna go to this league and try my hand there, dominating it. Going to another league, dominating it. Going back to the Prem when people are saying you're old, you shouldn't do that, you're gonna get exposed, whatever. He played great that season for United,
Yeah,
even though
yeah.
as an older player, right? So for me, it's taking that risk and being like, okay, like I trust in my ability, I can do that. And he conquered many leagues, so that's why I have him. That is he perfect? It's not a perfect story, 100%. Everyone has their own opinion for what player they think.
Yeah.
I think if you look in a vacuum like at Messi in his play, yeah, like he's a total footballer. Like they're two different type of players, right? It's all preference what you like, but for me, it's CR7.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Who you got though?
He's got Messi. He's got
Messi.
No, I'm going CR7, man. Everything that Trev said, right? I agree with him. But also it's I have a bias.
Mhm.
I was supporting United since
Yeah.
day one. So I'm gonna be biased to Ronaldo. I think if someone was to tell me their GOAT was Messi, I wouldn't get mad at that. Probably argue a bit, but I don't understand why. But yeah, I think Ronaldo, his just work ethic and his like dominance in every single league. Like when he went back to United, I was thinking he was crazy. I was like, how are you
too.
gonna, this is not the right
Yeah,
team, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the manager. Like, is this really gonna work out? And first match against Newcastle, 2 goals, right?
Yeah.
How many match winners he had during
Oh
that
my
season?
gosh.
Saved them.
Champions League too.
So
Oh my
many
God.
times, right? So when you think about it like that, it's for me, it's Ronaldo also. Let's talk about prime Ronaldo. Let's not talk about the
Yeah.
Ronaldo now. He can score with his head, he can score with his left, can score with his right. He got speed, can dribble, right?
Yeah.
So for me, if I'm looking for that, if I'm looking for a person that's really going to change the game, I'll go Ronaldo. But going back to Trev's point, if I want someone that's intricate and is going to combine and dominate in his own way, it's got to be Messi, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going CR7. Yeah.
Yeah, but even what Ronaldo brought outside the pitch for the fashion industry, just like you said with David Beckham, I would say Ronaldo is this. Is it predecessor?
Yeah,
Successor.
he's a
Successor. He's kind of like the successor
100%.
of David Beckham, and it's
Yeah.
crazy how they're both Man U players. It's like
number
For sure.
7,
He's
number
a
7,
both number
different
7 as
level.
well.
He's got hotels. He's got so many
Mhm.
other.
Mhm.
His branding, it's next
Yeah,
level, right?
yeah.
Like you have to give him respect for that as well.
exactly.
Right?
Just the celebration itself, right? Like everyone, every sport they do it now. Kids are doing it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What's a
Look at
Messi? What's a
Garnacho.
Messi celebration?
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's really doing.
No
that.
one's really doing that.
Like,
Exactly.
look at Garnacho. Garnacho like
He loves
literally
Ronaldo.
copies everything that Messi does. Like clearly you see that's
Ronaldo.
his hero.
Yeah.
yeah.
CR7.
Sorry, CR7.
Yeah, I do enjoy judging players based off their influence. And when you see like the two biggest young phenoms, Mbappe, Haaland, both their idols were Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Like that means something, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
valuable, right?
100%.
So like it's definitely something to keep in mind.
It's a
And
good debate, though, right?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
we debate it all the time.
Who's
Trust
yours?
My goat is Neymar, but the goat.
Why?
No, that's my goat.
Why is it
because
Neymar?
because I've watched him from day one
Yeah.
till now. The impact, like the talent, like how he was able to be a world-class player as a teenager in Brazil and take his talents, all the pressure, all the times he was the number one man for Brazil and all the pressure was on him, and then he was just being let down, by his teammates, by the media, by the country, right? And I think in a world where there's no Messi, no Ronaldo, it's Neymar on the top. And a lot of people like put a bad flag on Neymar for like, oh, never winning a Ballon d'Or. But like, look at the impact he's made on the game, right? I think he's the last true skiller that's left, right? The last true magician.
Post Ronaldinho,
Yeah.
there's been no other player other than him like that
Mhm.
from a skill perspective. You know what I mean? So there is something there for it.
Mhm. And
That's what you're saying.
he's just like, I believe in him so much. So like for him to like win 2026 would just be beautiful for me. But if you're asking the GOAT, obviously like it's not Neymar, right? I think Pele's the GOAT.
Or you never watched him play.
So
He's Brazilian. He's gonna.
no,
He's gonna go for
me,
Brazilian.
it's,
no matter what.
it's like a bit of his eye test too, right? So I can't really
Yeah.
comment on Maradona, Pele.
Yeah.
I can't really debate that because I never saw them play,
Mhm.
right? That's why. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats and what they've done, like his stories.
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah,
right?
like what I said about Ronaldo. Like I'm a big influence guy, impact on the game,
Yeah.
and Pele's impact on the game just
There you go.
cannot be
Yeah.
touched, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he was
the
the first to do
bicycle
it.
kick, like
Well,
he
think
made
of
it known.
He was playing from black and white TV into
Yeah.
color, into
Yeah.
modern game,
like
Yeah.
going to the US.
he's
all these things
meeting
like
the
that.
queen, he's meeting presidents, like he's the true first global star of the game, and
Yeah.
like no one's really reached that heights. Like obviously Ronaldo, like he's the most followed person in the world on Instagram, on social media. He's arguably probably the most famous person in the world, but Pele at that time was like
Like the
it's
social
him and Michael
impact.
Jackson,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, the
Like-
social impact, right?
And it's
Yeah.
crazy how he has
I
so
see
much impact when there was no social media. Everyone knew who Pele was, and he's just a
Yeah.
kid in Brazil, from South America, not even from Europe or the States.
If you didn't even watch football or didn't know anything about it, you knew still Pele.
Yeah,
Pele
it's
was-
crazy.
He was like Michael Jordan. If you
Yeah.
didn't watch basketball, you still knew the name Michael Jordan.
Yeah, like your grandmother would know his name, your
Mhm,
uncle,
yeah,
your aunt,
yeah,
a little kid, like transcending generations, right? So
Yeah.
And his impact still lives today, right?
Yeah.
Which is tantamount to his ability, his legacy, right? So I'm always gonna root for Pele in the GOAT debate because someone has to, right? It's always Messi and Ronaldo. Someone has to, bro.
That was a good sell though.
yeah.
Yeah, I might switch it up.
Maybe.
But no, gents, obviously fantastic conversation. Appreciate you guys coming out, sharing
Thanks
your
for having
story. And even I just love sharing your guys' story with the world because
Mhm.
like I've told you guys many times, it's so unique. I love what you guys do, and I see the grind each and every day. So it's truly beautiful that we've been able to hear the story.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for having us, man.
Great.
It was good.
Yeah, no, it was a great
This was
chat.
dope.
Yeah, it's also exciting to just see what you guys are going through and what you guys have for the future. So I'm excited myself to see what you
Yeah,
guys
we're
have.
gonna be topped in.
Oh,
sure.
trust me, we're tapped in on you guys, man. We've been
Thanks.
watching the pods. We've been watching the Instagram stories and stuff. It's dope.
Yeah.
And how you guys are expanding outside of just Canada and getting into the Prem. We talked about this offline, but you know, who would have thought that, right?
Some Canadian
You're-
boys.
When you
Yeah.
were, you know, say 10 years old playing
Yeah.
footy, would you have thought you would have been interviewing all the stars in the Prem?
No.
Right? And
Not
we,
at all.
you know, we kind of feel that way too, right? We
Yeah.
didn't know we were gonna be doing this. We just put the work in, be consistent, follow our passion as well.
Yeah.
And you know, the world's no one can stop you.
The
man.
world's your
that's the
oyster,
beauty,
as
right?
they
The world's your
say.
oyster,
What was yours, guys? But guys, for those that tuned in and stay until the end, we appreciate you. Drop a like, subscribe. Be sure to check these guys out on their socials. I seen the new IG handles, by the way. The Suit Goat
The suit goat. That's
and the
it.
Toronto Tailor.
That's it.
Those
Yeah,
are,
those
those
are-
are handles.
I like
That's
those,
our personal handles, and
Yeah.
then our business handle is nb.bespoke. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Mhm.
That rolls off the tongue nicely too.
The suit goat.
The suit
Like
goat
that,
and
eh?
the Toronto
That's
Tailor.
hard, bro.
Damn.
When I
man.
seen that switch, I was like, damn, you guys are up.
We're not playing, man. We're not playing around, you know.
Yeah,
I gotta do something like that now. David,
No.
David the goat.
No. But no, guys, appreciate you guys obviously coming by. Guys, drop a like, subscribe, and we the culture.
We the culture.
See ya.
Whoa.
Sick, man.
What a track.
That was dope, man.